Hello, Jason. How you doing? Let's go ahead and jump over to your submission. Okay, and then we have your written rationale. All right, there's one thing I want to address here in your written rationale. You're saying that for all of but one of your monograms, you have just the letters. I'm not sure what I would want to use for an image to go with the monograms of yet. I just want to address that a little bit. Okay, so you talk about using an image with a monogram, and the point I want to make is that you don't really use an image with a monogram. You can work in visual elements with typographic elements of a monogram. So, for example, I think a really good example was Maggie's example of the M. She's just got for Minotaur. She's got the M, and then right at the center of the M, there's a little circle, and to indicate the ring that goes in that Minotaur's nose or a bull's nose, right? And that is creating meaning and creating some connections with the attributes of the client and the visual presentation of the monogram. Okay, so that is basically typographic. All right. Now, in that same situation, if you would have an M and then a bull's head over the M, that's not a monogram. That has now become a logo because you have a visual identifier with it. The main thing I'm trying to say is if you can, it will remain a monogram if you can fit any kind of visual elements that you want to use in with the typography, but it still has got to communicate typographically. This is a monogram because you fit these kind of little circuits here right in to the typography. Now, if you were to just have G and S and then underneath it you got a series of circuits, that would now become a logo mark. Okay, so I just want to make those differences specifically clear to you. If they're not, let me know because it's pretty important. It's pretty important. So definitely want to make sure that that you understand those differences. All right, so great job labeling each of these monograms based on the words that you've chosen from your word list. That's fantastic. That tells me that you're not just sketching arbitrarily, you're sketching with meaning. And again, that's the name of the game. That's what we're looking for in designers. GNS, as far as, let me see, Guardian Network Security. That's fantastic that you've used the three letters. I think that's great practice. I think that each one of these has some good merits in and of themselves. And I'm seeing the kind of springboarding ideas bouncing back and forth here. And again, that's fantastic. As far as your visual direction moving forward, I recommend that you do this. I'm not going to give you any recommendations to move forward. I think that it would be best served at this particular point that you make those decisions yourself based on good, solid reasoning. But I do want to ask you to let me know what those reasons are, okay, when you do make your final choice. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because you've got your logo, right? You've got your word mark. Now you're working on your monogram. So as a system here, as a branding system, you want to look at your logo, your word mark, and your monogram, and you want to make sure there's a very high degree of visual harmony on the three pieces of work, right? That only makes sense. So for that reason, go ahead, and this might entail a need for you to go back into the pieces that are already finished. For example, this might entail having to go back into your logo and making some visual adjustments based on what you've chosen here and the direction that you've gone in your monogram and also in your word mark from last week. So the point I'm trying to make is there really needs to be a good visual consistency, a good visual harmony in the three pieces. All right, great job. Questions, comments, concerns, or of course clarifications, please let me know. I'll be glad to provide any of the above should that need arise. All right, great job. Thank you very much.